Emma woke craving a bold leap, not coffee, not yoga, but clay. 45, she'd mastered hiding behind spreadsheets and Seattle's gray skies, yet today, her hands itched for mess. Community BBQs left her sweating, but spinning earth? That vibed different. A pottery wheel waited, dusty in corner, taunting like last year's resolutions. What if she threw a vase instead of excuses? An exhibition loomed, 6 weeks to shape silence into something solid. Lopsided mugs be damned. Courage wasn't about perfection. Emma's hands trembled as she approached community center, its brick facade humming with midweek energy. 45 years of avoiding crowds had left her with a soundtrack of whispers, not from others, but from her own pulse, a relentless metronome counting down every social misstep. Today, though, she craved more than just survival. Clay clung to her fingertips during first class, gritty and forgiving. Unlike polished expectations of Seattle's tech bro BBQs, where she'd always felt like a mismatched jigsaw piece. Will became her anchor. Spinning earth demanded focus, not perfection. Each wobble a chance to reshape, not ruin. Muscle memory from childhood summers kneading dough with her grandmother flickered back. Those hands, now lined with years, remembered how to create instead of retreat. By week 6, her mugs listed drunkenly to left, but their flaws felt like friends. When instructor announced an exhibition, Emma's gut lurched like a subway car braking too fast. Showing up meant being seen. Yet as she arranged her pieces, a lopsided vase, a bowl glazed exact blue of Puget Sound dusk, she noticed strangers tracing finger ridges she'd left in clay. No one winced imperfections. They leaned in. Opening night buzzed with kombucha-sipping locals. A woman in a faded Riot Girl tee cradled Emma's favorite cup, murmuring how its weight felt like a held breath finally released. Laughter tangled with indie folk music, and for once, Emma didn't count exits. Will had taught her this. Centrifugal force could pull things apart or hold them together. It just depended which direction you chose to spin. Emma's fingers trembled as she hovered over clay wheel, its hum a steady counterpoint to her racing heart. 45 years of avoiding crowds, of ducking eye-contact community BBQs, had led her here, a sunlit studio smelling of earth and possibility. She'd expected judgment, but found only hands shaping silence into something solid. Her mentor, a woman with laugh lines deeper than Emma's worries, didn't offer pep talks. Instead, she nudged a lump of clay forward with a wink. Messes are just art playing hard to get. Emma's first attempt collapsed like a bad joke, but second held its shape, wobbling but alive. Each rotation smoothed edges, both on wheel and in her chest. Weeks blurred into cups, bowls, a lopsided vase that made her snort. Clay became her anchor, its grit under nails, its weight in palms grounding her when grocery store small talk threatened to spiral. She learned to lean into slip-ups, literally. A rogue splash turned her apron into abstract art, and studio crew's giggles felt like camaraderie, not critique. Then came exhibition flyer, bold letters screaming show your work. Emma's gut lurched, but her mentor slid a glaze-stained hand over hers. Nervous means it matters. That night, Emma dreamt of spinning wheels and standing ovations. She woke craving not escape, but thrill of clay meeting fire. Gallery, her pieces stood among others, a teapot with a stubborn drip, mugs shaped like imperfect hearts. Strangers lingered her table, tracing cracks she'd once seen as flaws. One woman, silver-haired and steady, whispered, "Feels like you get it." Emma's breath caught. For once she did. Will had taught her this. Life, like clay, couldn't be controlled. But it could be held, shaped, remade. And sometimes thing you feared, being seen, became very thing that made you whole. Emma's hands hovered over lump of clay like it might bite. 45 years of avoiding center stage, and here she was, wedging her future into a wobbly mess. Seattle's drizzle-tapped studio window, a metronome for her racing thoughts. This is how midlife crises go viral, not with sports cars, but with wonky mugs. Community center BBQs had taught her one thing. Standing near potato salad didn't require small talk. But pottery? Pottery demanded surrender. Every spin of wheel mocked her need for control. Centering clay felt like wrestling a greased pig, slippery, humiliating, weirdly thrilling. She'd flub angle, collapse a vase, then stubbornly push sludge back into a mound. Like my self-esteem, she mused, flicking flecks of dried earth from her sweater. Weeks in, her knuckles stopped cracking from tension. Wheel's hum became a mantra, drowning out imagined judgments. Clay didn't care about her crow's feet or that time she blinked on her neighbor's name. It only asked for pressure, firm, forgiving. She dug thumbs into its belly, coaxing curves from resistance. Maybe this is how you remake yourself. Then came exhibition flyer, bold letters screaming local artist showcase. Emma's gut lurched. Showing up was one thing, being seen? Terrifying. But her latest piece, a lopsided bowl with thumbprint ridges, sat on her shelf like a dare. She signed up before logic could intervene. Night of event, her pulse outran Kiln's final firing. Strangers milled past her table, pausing her organic imperfections collection. One woman traced a jagged edge, nodding. Feels honest. Emma's laugh came out as a snort. Honest? More like a cry for help in terracotta. But as hands reached for her work, something unclenched. Not perfection, not approval, just raw, ridiculous act of offering something made. By closing time, 3 pieces had sold. Emma pocketed cash, a tangible screw you, to every awkward silence she'd ever endured. Outside, rain slicked pavement, reflecting neon gallery signs. She stepped into glow, clay still under her nails. Will had been her silent ally, spinning doubt into something she could hold. Next stop, community barbecue. With a platter. Probably store-bought, but damn if she wouldn't own it. Emma's hands trembled as she stepped into Pottery studio, her stomach knotting tighter than coiled clay. 45, she'd mastered hiding behind spreadsheets and silent nods community BBQs. But today, no spreadsheet could save her. That craving for a bold leap had led here, to a spinning wheel and a room buzzing with chatter. She sat, gripping cold clay like a lifeline. Wheel hummed to life, and suddenly, her fingers weren't just trembling. They were alive. Mud splattered her apron, a tiny goof that made her snort. Who cared if her first vase listed like a drunken sailor? For once, she wasn't overthinking. Just doing. Weeks passed. Misshapen bowls piled up, but so did her nerve. When flyers for a local exhibition appeared, Emma's gut said run. Her hand said try. She signed up, then spent nights wrestling self-doubt, reshaping it like stubborn clay. Show day arrived. Her piece, a lopsided but lovable bowl glazed in stormy blues, sat among sleek creations. A skeptic nearby eyed it, lips quirking. Emma braced for a scoff. Then flash. Some influencer snapped a pic, captioning it imperfectly perfect vibes. Crowds surged. Strangers gushed over her bold texture. Skeptic blinked, then grinned. Damn. That's gutsy. Emma's chest swelled. Not from praise, but from quiet roar of I did this. As cheers rose, she caught her reflection in clay wheel, smudged, smiling. Life wasn't about hiding. It was about throwing yourself into spin, flaws and all. And that was worth capturing. Creator woke craving a bold leap, not coffee, not another spreadsheet, but clay beneath her palms. 45, she'd spent decades folding into herself, dodging small talk like landmines. But Seattle's drizzle couldn't dampen itch in her fingers. That first pottery class? A wobbly mug, sure, but also a heartbeat steadier than her own. Months later, her hands knew rhythm of wheel, centering, pulling, shaping, mimicking how she'd learned to steady her breath in crowded rooms. Odd habit? She whispered affirmations to her vases. You're not lopsided. You're avant-garde. When Community Center announced an exhibition, Emma's stomach lurched. But her mentor nudged. Art's not for hiding. So she glazed her pieces midnight blue, like Puget Sound dusk, and showed up. Strangers lingered by her work. Not just polite nods, questions. She found herself guiding a teen through pinch pot techniques, laughing with a retiree over cracked handles. By summer, she'd traded solo studio nights for pop-up workshops, neighborhood BBQs, her once quiet corner now buzzing with beginners clutching lumpy masterpieces. That wheel? It spun more than clay. It wove connections turning, what if they judge me, into watch what we made. Her crowning glory? A collaborative installation, dozens of hands building one sprawling sculpture. Emma stood back, clay-crusted and grinning. Social anxiety hadn't vanished, but it had met its match in something louder. Joy, messy and unapologetic. Grab some clay, mold your brave.